afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Propagandacaster with me, your host, Imperial Dane, Master Propaganda here of the Right Defender of the Fallen, and off here to 1 vs 1 on Angoville. Yes, indeed. With me, of course, your host, Imperial Dane, as already noticed, Matent. So we got here in the south, we got Frost, by the way. This is Frost, who's apparently off to some... yeah, nothing good. Final here for America, Freedom and Democracy, taking on the role here of the 2nd Armored Division. In the north, we got Luciano fighting for the Wehrmacht, Germany, Deutschland. Rolling out here with the Panzer Division with Lightning Roar. Jaeger Infantry and Elite Troops, Triple Infantry versus Armour Company with Triple Infantry there for Frost. Dub Reasons Riflemen. So it's going to obviously try to see as much territory as possible in the early game, using the Dub Reasons, in this case spreading out to both sides. So we can sort of see his points here and there. Rifling out. MG42 setting up there. Sandbags to cover the calf point. Very good. So Luciano's halting westwards there. But it seems like his main push is going to be in the east as well here versus Frost, who's going for 2nd rifle squad there. Riflemen being suppressed. Hitting the eastern fuel point. Tank traps going down. The Czech Hedgehog, as this particular type of tank trap was known as. Pioneers moving westward. 2nd rifle squad on the way there. Almost done. More grenadiers for Luciano. And the German army, the Panzer Division. 2nd rifle squad there arriving. Fuel secured. Point secured here as well. Pretty quiet start so far. Almost 2 minutes and we haven't really had any sort of serious engagements. There's been a bit of shooting here from the MB42. And that's about it. Pioneers engaging reactions though. Sandbags it up to, defend the fuel point. In this case, in fact, rushes straight at the reaction, just win the engagement there. As fast as possible. That of course means it's going to be delayed in fuel point. In fact, we can see that Frost is setting up another infantry squad to support the reasons. Meaning he's not being able to get the fuel point. If of course we get the eastern fuel point, it should work out for Luciano. But there's certainly a chance it's going to potentially backfire on him. Even as you see going for 2nd Grenadier squad. Frost following up with the assault engineers with their grease guns. Well, I'm guessing a common modification was actually just taping 2 magazines together, so you just can easily just change magazines more easily and just replenish their ammo without having to necessarily fish out another magazine. So little fun facts there. Grabbing fuel points, grabbing munitions points, but of course losing the west here to Frost. So 3 grenadiers, 1.2 versus 2 rifle squads, 3 echelons and the Sonjini squad. So an interesting combo then force wise from Frost. Also, it's been quite some time since we've seen actually Armour Company at all, like after the changes to the M10 tank, so it's rather sort of fallen by the wayside in favour of recon support and other doctrines. But Frosty certainly seems to be heading in other directions. And there you go, got the Sonias charging at the Grenadiers here with their grease guns firing away. The grease gun was an attempt to overall just make a more cheaper and less heavy version of the Thompson submachine gun after they made several attempts at doing that, but overall didn't really achieve the goal, and so the grease gun came by instead. He's going there for a flamethrower upgrade as well, very good. It's going to increase the firepower, of course, make it harder for Luciano to use cover. And of course, Garrison's fuel cache, oh, not fuel cache, but medic bunker up there. No take up yet here for Luciano. Grabbing the calf point, Grenadiers setting out. And Reason's rifling overwhelming the Grenadiers in the east, need to retreat those pretty soon. Going here for the calf point with the Pioneers, leading survey. Alright, Helmut, you watch the other side. Can't have the Americans coming from there. Gonna try and sneak in for it with him before he can actually cover that. He sort of pops his head out and looks like he does so. Of course, he might try and play around that instead. Going for another Grenadier squad here, Luciano, instead of taking up, Reasons push back rather than being. Well, there's a good chance of wiping with the Pioneer MP40 and the MD42 doing a bit of damage there. That would be pretty decent there for Luciano. There you go. Rifle squad wiped out, a loss for Frost, a loss for America. The 2nd Armoured. With a Catman on the way there. So Frost is definitely not going the usual path a lot of American players are going for. He's going off the meta reservation. But he's doing a good job there, otherwise, of course, just keeping Luciano under pressure and denying him fuel, which is really important. It's a good play there by Frost. And there you go, attack round here through the hedgerows. Engaging the machine gun there, forcing it down to half health in a matter of bursts, and that's going to further force that line to get into the house with further pressure Luciano there, who's also trying to come back here in the west, though with only now take-up going on, he's going to have a bit of a hard time pushing through the rifle there without a rifle grenade or any other counter grenades. I mean, he could go for elite troops here, just pop in a light concussive grenade, but he might decide against that. Pioneers are being overwhelmed. MD42 needs to, I think, just retreat entirely, and there we go. Rather than being flanked by another grenadier squad, but Luciano is not having these use of times here versus Frost, who's got his captain out on the field as well. They're standing at the ready. But he's almost got the eastern field point. Almost got it. And there you go, push back the rifle squad on the west here. Another MD42 here for Luciano, though. That is a very heavy tier 1. And he does know here what company he's going for. That is Frost. I mean, he's going for the captain. He's even going for Stuart right now. And he could actually have been using the captain to supervise the Stuart out even faster. And that would have been really punishing here for Luciano. But thankfully for Luciano, that's not happening. That is not happening. Maybe Frost decides to be merciful. Who knows? But he could easily have that Stuart out by now, thanks to the captain. But Luciano is going to be woefully under-equipped and prepared for that. And in part, it's probably because so few American players do it nowadays. You're more used to seeing the Lieutenant and the M20. So when someone actually, pushes for a captain, and then the Stuart, you're probably going to not be quite ready for them. Particularly the Assault Engineers, of course, also proving to be quite a threat here to Luciano. So Frost here is certainly playing it novelly and, doing pretty good. Rifle grenade off here against the Rifleman. They dodge it though quite handily here. In the West, Pioneers pushing forward with them. Flamethrowers, MD42 probably could consider setting up here. And he got a push for the Western victory point. But he's got the Western field point almost on his control. Oh, no, he forgets to grab the car point. Scheiße, Luciano. It's a cut-off point. And there you go, got the M5A1 Stuart on the road. Gauging here the Grenadiers, opening up with its 30mm gun and its Cracktral and whole machine gun there, hammering away at those damn dirty Nazis. Rifle following up to support the tank, very good there. Infantry Armour Corporation by Frost. Luciano losing the eastern fuel point, and he's finally though connecting the western fuel point. Of course, it's not going to last for long there either. Certainly having a rough time there. I'd like to make a nice company. Is he planning just to somehow try and rush to tier 3? That would be pretty ambitious here versus Frost. That would be very, very ambitious, and I'm not entirely sure that would be something I'd recommend, but could be something, I guess. The better idea, though, I think, be to build a like to make a nice company and get out a Pack 40 or some 222s here. Reasons are being stored here with the Pioneers for the flying effort. Grenadiers versus Riflemen, and there you go. Luciano in this case just retreats, doesn't try to take any chances here. No doctrinal choice that can assist him. There's an infantry build like this from the Americans. You could consider elite troops, not just for the G43s, which is by the way something all of Luciano's doctrines have, but also the concussive grenades, which do make it a bit harder for the Americans to just close in there on your Grenadiers without getting punished. Which is one of the reasons why I'm up against the Americans. I tend to choose elite troops because it's one of your best bets versus the Americans, and particularly do get really aggressive versus you. Frost here though could be taking up. He isn't. I mean, in that regard, the fuel harassment from Luciano probably has helped. But there are also weapon racks with BARs and bazookas here as an option. Or grenades. But he does go for Lieutenant here. I wonder if Frost has realised he can't no longer call in the M10 because this has been a perfect armour doctrine playstyle there. Go for Lieutenant Captain and then just spam in M10s, but he can't do that. Not anymore, not without taking up for the Major. Grab the centre victory point there. Teleman's there was a really good spot there from Luciano. If he can catch us through, that would be pretty helpful for Luciano here in the Panzer Division. Smaller push into the east here. Minesweepers that are spotting the Telemine. Good work from Frost by going for minesweepers before he actually needed them. At least from what he knew, of course. Tends to be the hallmark of a good player. Always ensuring they're, one step ahead of any mines. The good work there by Frost. Grain points here. They also got minesweepers up for Luciano. He hasn't seen a lot of mines, if anything, from Frost either, but he's taking no chances there either. I mean, he does have sharp enough for no reasons to lay down mines, and his assault units can also lay down mines and even demo charges, so Definitely think it's a sensible choice there by Luciano to go for minesweepers as well. Big push there against the calf point, and Luciano just lacks the firepower to stall this. No G43s, no G42s, nothing. Pack 40 almost done there for Luciano for the Panzers. Meanwhile, his men in the west are suffering against the Steward here as they lack any weapons to really threaten it. Frost following up here with a 50 caliber machine gun to help contain Luciano's troops and support weapons. A strong choice. Luciano though remains without a doctor here versus Frost and the second armament. And before being forced out in the open. As the assault unit team and the Stuart there just pursues it aggressively. Here in the fire's gun these versus Rifleman. No light machine guns or anything like that yet here for Luciano. He finally goes for doctrine. These elite troops. The Panzers is summoning up its best men, its best equipment, and its best tactics. So what are our best tactics, Ludwig? We get a really experienced Tiger crew, and since we hope our commander knows how to use it and murders every all of them. Also stormtroopers. Ah, that is an excellent tactic, yeah, when it works. It is like 50% of the time, so 50% of the time, it works all of the time. Rather than charging into double gun, it is quickly getting cut apart. The Steward, in this case, a bit too far away to really land any good hits. And there you go, Frost hits the calf point. Frost is so far, would say, playing the map pretty well. I would say his only big mistake, though, she's not going for the mage as fast as he could have here versus Luciano, giving Luciano more time himself to take up and maybe catch up there against Frost. No take up yet here though for Luciano. For the Panzer, Panzer Shunkan is being suppressed by the 50 caliber. Frost is up there in a position to cover the calf point there, making it hard for Luciano to get any fuel back. Cheeky fella, but there you go, getting flanked here by the MD42 gun. It is also trying there, even suppressed, they do not yield. He could maybe consider sneaking in some stormtroopers here versus Frost, you know, in the right place that can do some harm. Plus, of course, with assault rifles, they're really damn good. But we do get finally some G43s on the way for Luciano's infantry. Gaining them a lot more punch and hitting the cop on there as well. Very good work by Luciano. Very good work. Sehr gute Arbeit, Leute. Captain repulsed. Sent scurrying away like the Yankee rat he is. And Frost is sending more force into the west, trying to capture the territory lost. This Luciano and the Steward being sent eastwards to support around the calf point and ensure he can reopen the fuel lines. And there goes Stewart strikes, 4 kills for America. Back at base, we finally got to take over there for Luciano. It's going to take a bit of a while to go for anything else though. They could consider rushing out Stug here versus Frost. We should see what it ends up with though. In the meanwhile, the Stormtrooper squad still be, I think, a pretty decent choice. Pushing up east here, even as he's defending in the west, though he's struggling a bit here to contain all of Frost's troops. And we got the Steward rolling here. They're taking advantage of the Pack 40 being moved in, but there you go, Gunlee's moving in. If you can panzer faster, the Pack 40 should have a much better chance of dealing with the American light tank. And there you go, penetrating hit through the frontal armor. Certainly not designed to withstand a hit from 75mm cannon with that type of velocity. In these conditions, Rifleman pulling in there. He's a concussive grenade here. I think he'll be quite good at flushing out the Rifleman. And then again, looks like the G43s are doing the job quite well on their own. Pioneers though clustering up dark and annihilated. Bit of drop off there for Luciano. Rifleman push back in the west here. And there goes a Paul McCock for Luciano. He can go straight for the Stug. He could also go for an Ostwind. And of course, there's also the option of just saying a bit for a Panzer 4. So several options here for Luciano for the Panzer Luciano. He's using incendiary armor piercing roundabout. That's good. A lot of players tend to neglect that ability, but it can prove quite helpful in many situations. And weapon max finally happening there for Frost. He's actually assembled 400 munitions, so I mean, he definitely needs to add some weapons. That's going to put some serious pressure there on Luciano. Like a lot of BARs can bring a lot of pain, and there we go. That is a lot of pain. There we go, concussive grenade here, a steel hand granate without the fragmentation sleeve. since the regular Student Grenade just rely on the explosive force, there's the concussive force, and they actually end up adding a fragmentation clip just to increase the lethality of the grenade that way. So, fun fact. Fun fact. Looks like the Luciano is aiming for the Panzer IV, the Panzerkampfwagen 4. Rather than going straight for the Pack 40, hitting the cuff point as well there. The BAR sweeping past Luciano's forces lack any sort of serious firepower to respond with. In part because all the serious firepower on the eastern side of the map. And there you go, gets the Pack 40 crew. Quite a loss there for Luciano. Particularly if Frost makes off with it, he can actually make things much more difficult here for Luciano in using his Panzer IV versus Frost. So that is definitely bad news there for Luciano. For the Panzer there, Panzer Division. Gonna be just hanging about here, no upgrades for them. Assault is standing about. Note he could be laying down mines with them, but so far Frost has elected not to. And gonna be seeing heavy hits from the BAR wielding rifleman. Double BARs, double death. God damn it, Carl, that's not higher fire BAR. Are you sure? Yeah. Stand up. MD42 in there, gonna swing about, and we got the Panzer IV arriving here for Luciano, the Panzerkampfwagen 4. Cornelius versus the light tank, the sandbags crumble on its fire. Cornelius in the east versus 50 cavalry reasons and more re-echelons. Not enough munitions though for the pinlock machine, should be able to at least sort of flank the Stuart there, pushing it back. And there you go, good penetrating hit. Of course, with the Pack 40 in Frost's hands, he does need to be careful with the Panzer IV. One wrong move could send his Panzer IV into a very, very bad state. Luciano decided to get a mortar. I think a good choice here, provides a bit of artillery support. Also the option for smoke versus Frost. On the western side, assault in from Luciano to gain it. We got the enforcing up the captain moving in. Grenadier squad hanging back nearby. Oh, he doesn't get past the MD42 fast enough. Or he does, apparently does need to, as Frost or Luciano apparently set it off there in the wrong manner. Does not pursue, and there he ends up retreating in the face of the Grenadiers. There's the MD42 resets up here. Panzer falling in. Having already taken one hit from the Pack 40, and Quick Bear will take another hit. There we go. Storms we still think would be a pretty good choice here for Luciano. And a Pioneer squad to support here the Panzer IV for Luciano. Should definitely work out. Be a mortar fire here. Threatening, I'm guessing the upholstery or something, because there's no Americans nearby. Another fresh push here from Frost into the west, stood support of the rifleman with BARs. Also got the anti-tank hanging in. He's anticipating that Luciano will try to counterattack with his Panzer IV, preferably head on, rather than trying to flank Frost's attack and maybe that way catch any support weapons off guard. So will Frost take the bait, or what will Frost do? Not Frost, Luciano. I mean, Frost is the one putting out the bloody bait. He's not the one taking it, or supposed to take it. But there you go, then he's getting a damage into the Stuart. Panzer IV moving in. Cap moving up though. The Easton's charging in. But he's managed to push back. The Pack 40 is sufficient enough in the Panzer IV. Should have a chance of going straight for the Stuart and taking it out there. Captain being gutted, and he's all wiped out. Quite a loss here though for Luciano. That's a full Grenadier squad annihilated. Needs to retreat the other. Oh, he got the captain on. There's a BAR left behind, which the reactions are quick to pick up. I inherited this BAR from my granddad. You just picked it up from that dead corpse. Shut up. Or you're gonna disrespect my granddad. Your granddad didn't have the BAR. It was invented for World War I, late World War I. I'm pretty sure your dad didn't even have it, because he didn't fight in World War I. Yeah. There you go, Stormtroopers out here, flanking another 50 cavalry there, so finally some Stormtrooper action. Fun fact, the icon is actually for the Brandenburger Division, which initially started out sort of a special operations unit, but was later sort of turned into a Panzergrenadier Division, which would later be made part of the Großdeutschland Panzer Corps. Fun facts. Here, since rather than attacking west, we've got infantry left on its own with no real cover, anything to support it. So in theory, if Frost were to flank it or something, could give the MD42 a very hard time. Push up the centre. We got the major calling artillery, so just charges forwards. He just doesn't care. He's a major badass. Except Joe there, who stuck his head out too far and got cut apart by the MD42. Gunners are being overwhelmed by 50 caliber fire and the lieutenant. They're desperately fighting, but ultimately they're being overwhelmed. And there we go. Frost has finally taken that. Of course, he's ultimately going for the Jackson tank destroyer. He could go for the M10, but opts instead for the Jackson. No Wolverines for him. Gonna do some of the echelons. As for what Luciano's going for next, another Panzer IV could be an optional versus Jackson. He might be more interested in going for Stooks. I suppose he could be completely, bonkers and try and take out for a Panther. As for the Stormtroopers, hopefully he'll try and set up munitions to go for the assault rifles, since they really benefit from assault rifles. Really, like, in a very big manner. Nice flank there from Frost in the MD42. Ground victory point, pressuring in. We've got the infantry on the way and send the armor pierce round to further, just make this difficult for the rifle Stormtroopers moving in. He's halfway towards an assault rifle package, and here we got the anti-tank gun supporting some infantry as they move up. Here we got double pioneers, but another infantry, and we got the M36 Jackson out here for Frost and the 2nd Armoured. Lieutenant being pushed away. Also, fun fact, the Americans would occasionally use the tank destroyers artillery. I know they did it with the M10s. I'm not entirely sure they did it with the Jackson, but I definitely know they used the M10s at times like self-propelled artillery pieces. So, little fun fact there as well. Panzer IV, they're flanking the Jackson, getting a good hit. While the Jackson misses the Panzer IV, so that was pretty fortunate there for Luciano. Who is in fact going here for a 2nd Panzer IV. Bit of shooter here, pioneers versus assault units. We got the infantry moving in. But there you go, direct hit from Jackson on the Panzer IV. 2nd Panzer IV almost done. In these Stormtroopers repulsed. No assault rifles here for Luciano as of yet. Another hit there from Jackson on the Panzer IV. We got the infantry sitting up. He can't stop the Jackson. Good hit. They need to blade still pop smoke, possibly both. He needs to get the other Panzer in there as soon as possible. Oh, get behind the bunkers. Use the bunkers as cover. Woo, attack round there. And Frost decides to call it off. Pretty damn close there for Luciano. Also pretty damn close eventually. 2 here. Assault. Grenadiers just pushed back the major, though we got a large force moving in. Heavily equipped with BARs, the Grenadiers is infantry forced to fold and retreat, as they lack the ability to stall. Although in theory he could have tried a concussive grenade there, but it seems like Luciano is not particularly keen on that ability. We got the Panzer IV setting out. Back here, reinforcements, healing, repairs going on there. No assault rifles yet for the Stormtroopers. Still very much lacking in that department. Panzer IV moving eastwards on its own, unsupported. He's destroying the tank traps. He's going to cover there to Frost. That's definitely one way of doing it. Lieutenant with the double BRs as well. They could upgrade by Frost. There's the Grenadiers. We got the infantry sitting up as well. No, the players sort of really obsessing on one point for too long, always trying to attack here and there. Though they are a bit, I think, Sean actually trying to use the central road here to flank and use that maneuver on. The Frost is doing it to a degree. Luciano in the hand is pretty much, I think, sort of missing out on a lot of opportunities sort of that way, try and catch Frost off guard. There you go, one concussive grenade there from Luciano. Sadly, no assault rifles for the Stormtroopers. He seems reluctant to just press it to not actually go for the upgrade. Need to fall back with the Stormtroopers on their own health. Interesting to note, Frost is not considered upgrading for grenades as of yet. There we go. Jackson moves in, shoots, and doesn't do a lot there. Storm to be very close to Veteran 2. And an artillery strike called in the north, hitting some of Luciano's northern positions. Pack 40 halfway to Veteran 2. There you go, both Panzer forces attacking. Bit of a risky assault here for Luciano, since there's a pack 40 there plus the Jackson nearby, so his tanks will quickly take a lot of damage. But he does get a wipe there on the rear echelons, dropping the BAR, and that's definitely beneficial there for Luciano. Plus his Panzer all this Veteran 2. That is also reasonably helpful. Not quite as helpful as wiping out a rear echelon squad. Though of course once it gets to Veteran 3 it's going to be really good there for Luciano. Less good for Frost. And the question is, what is Frost here playing at next? Now the Jackson Shermans, Bulldozer Shermans. That is the question here. I mean, Frost has the fuel. He's almost got the manpower as well, so he should then begin to, you know, consider making some decisions in that direction. Luciano could go here for a third Panzer IV versus Frost. 3 Panzer IVs would be quite a potent force. And would be able to do a lot of damage there to Frost if handled correctly. It's a big push here.
Enemy forces are securing our territory.
Still no assault rifles. And our final push is down here from Luciano to defend the western fuel point. Interesting choice there. First Panzer IV fixed, ready to once more enter into combat against the Americans. Versus Frost, his continued lack of any sort of armor choices besides the Jackson is still very much apparent. Trying to destroy a fighting position with just infantry is going to take him some time. Keep shooting at the dirt! I think it would be easy if we just used a shovel to, you know, dig it away, or I don't know, just even kick it and shooting it. 9, we must shoot it. Army doctrine demands we shoot at it for some reason. I don't know why. And there you go, finally took it down with the power of bullets. Jackson moves out, going for the Panzer IVs. Interesting choice there. Luciano continues to float resources. Could be he's planning for a Tiger Ace. A bold choice, but he just keep going for Panzer IVs. To be honest, of course, he used the Tiger as well. He could just sort of maybe roll over Frost. In particular, Frost handles it poorly, but I'm still sort of, you know, thinking he'd just better off going for another Panzer IV here. Oh, wait, got a Bulldozer Sherman out here for Frost. That's not going to handle well versus a Panzer Force, or for that matter, a Tiger Ace. It's going to be useful versus the infantry. Absolutely sure, but beyond that, though, it might struggle a bit versus the potential large armoured force Luciano's got waiting to beat up Frost. A few seconds away there from the Tiger Ace for Luciano. And the Panzer. Panzer flanking in, they need to be careful, they need to be careful. There we go, calling the Ace. Not sure why sending in his only veteran Panzer IV on its own, largely unsupported. He's definitely a poor handling of tanks, and definitely not how most German armoured commanders would have done if they're actually going to attack with the tanks. They're not just sending one tank largely unsupported and exposed in like that. Somehow, though, it seems like the Panzer IV actually survives this, and there you go. Tiger Ace, but there you go, gets stunned by the target weak point of the Pack 40, taking the Tiger Ace down to half health in a matter of seconds. Veteran free on the Pack 40, one shot bounces, Panzer moving ahead there. Oh dear, he might be able to get Jackson, he might be able to get it! Short, Fritz! Short! Ah, scheiße, Fritz! How could you miss? There you go, almost got it. But the Jackson gets the Panzer IV. The Panzer IV gets abandoned. Oh dear. That's bad news for Luciano. I'll have to say overall that armoured assault could have been executed with a bit more style and cohesion. I mean, he just sort of sending his tanks one by one, you know, rather than, you know, setting in for a larger scale assault. So very much, you know, the opposite of what most German commanders would have done. I mean, he pretty much just handed Frost here detail in defeat. Defeat in detail. So, not really the most well-played attack there by Luciano by far. Like, he'd just been a bit more patient. He could have sent 2 Panzer IVs in with the Tiger Ace, which would have had a much more impact than just one at a time. Whereas, you know, Frost had most of his stuff, the rate to just, you know, focus them down one at a time. Had they been all coming in at once, maybe the Panzer IV that was 52 and the Tiger Ace even blitzing, he could have done a lot more damage there to Frost. So that was not really well executed at all. And obviously the Panzer IV ending up in Frost's hands is even worse for Luciano. Tiger Ace almost good to go there. At least the double pioneer squads help out a bit, though they are in fact pretty depleted. The lack of manpower is not doing Luciano and the Panzerlehr any massive favours. As a fun fact, the Panzerlehr Normandy actually had a Tiger battalion attached to it. Well, technically it was a Funkline-Abteilung, a sort of just a radio control unit for Goliath and Borgward 4Bs, but they were actually using Tiger tanks to control the different units. They in fact even had a King Tiger of the earlier model with a rounded turret. Fun fact. There you go, got the Jackson with 8 rounds, going after the Tiger Ace, almost taking out there. Pretty bad news for Luciano. I mean, again, once more just sent in his tank unsupported, not even any other tanks or any infantry, just Tiger Ace going in on his own. Stormtroopers would still benefit, I think, from assault rifles. And there you go, Frost's Panzer IV is on the move.
The enemy is overrunning one of our capture points.
Definitely bad news for Luciano there. His Panzer IV is good to go, it's almost fetching the 3. This, of course, in this case being the Tiger Ace.
The enemy is overrunning one of our capture points.
He's down to 78 here versus Frost 457. Luciano definitely needs to do some hard work to turn this around. And needs to do it smartly as well. Ooh, grenade here stopped the Americans right in their tracks. And he's sending this Panzer IV unsupported. Looks like this to support the Grenadiers, which is something. And there you go, Assault is leading the charge, Panzer IV going, but there you go, Panzer IV flanks the Panzer IV, misses though, another, he's going for an M10 tank, try this around, going to force retreat here in the face of the Panzer IV. Panzer IV that gets hit, and I think he actually kills one of his own there. Yup. Shit, taken out by the Panzer IV. Pioneers, mortar moving inches. Now I'm using both Pioneers to repair the target, so that might actually be a misclick there by Luciano. I hope it is, because otherwise he's willingly just slowing down the repair speed of his Tiger Ace, and it's going to take even longer for him to get it back onto the field. So there you go, first M10 out here for Frost. Panzer IV with a bit of light support moving ahead. Distance under fire, and this Stormtroopers actually before taking fire from the American Panzer IV. Other M10 almost done. Tiger Ace should be more or less good to go now here for Luciano. He needs to join up with the first Panzer IV. There you go, got the M10 going in for the Panzer IV. Shoots, penetrates. Need to retreat the Stormtroopers before it's too late here. Getting surrounded, getting murdered. And likely getting wiped then. Didn't even ever upgrade them. What a shame. And there you go. That's a Stormtrooper squad dead here for Luciano. His Tiger Ace is good to go. Can he turn this around? Or is Frost just now too dominant? So we'll have to see here what Luciano does when work any magic against Frost. In the second arm, there you go. Tiger Ace takes the Panzer I to view, shoots, penetrates. Two M10 taking back nearby, got mortified on the Pack 40, almost taking out the Veteran Fleet crew. M10 moving ahead, they need to be careful with the Tiger Ace. M10's ignoring the Panzer IV, which is firing at them. That's definitely a tactical advantage there for Luciano. So the Tiger Ace has more shots of bouncing. Classic is just Panzer IV, a lot of free shots. Up close, there we go. One M10 down. Sherman down. Oh dear, he's down to just the Jackson. And one M10 here. Let's call up. Oh, that was something else he lost there. Well, either way. Oh, yes, the Panzer IV lost there, never mind. So nice, lost both M10s and a Panzer IV here. Now, this is working a lot better for Luciano, so I'm pleased to get the Pack 40 back here, which ought to be pretty big. So right there, Frost split up his armour too thinly, and also, I would say, performed some rather questionable armour tactics, which turned out to be a massive tactical victory there for Luciano, switching things also to more favourable informed strategy. And there we go, Jack's moving in relentlessly without any support, right between the two tanks. Damaged engine wedged in between the two, and there you go, got the T3 and the Panzer IV. The tank destroyer goes down as well. The match has been completely turned around in a matter of minutes, as Luciano apparently got bitten by Rommel or something. At least got infused with the essence of Rommel for like a few moments before whatever science magic works its magics and then vanishes. I don't know. Either way though, he just demolished a much larger force by just, you know, defeating it in detail, you know, dealing with it when it's smaller and more manageable rather than taking it on head on. So right there, Frost essentially got punished in that sense. And Luciano was rewarded for just putting what little army he had together and actually working it together, though it's going to need to fix it up pretty fast. He needs to be careful not to extend either. Smoke there being fired off. It's not helping though, best of the Ace. It's not helping. My God, the smoke, it does nothing. So 11 kills there. 3 armoured kills. Panzer IV there with 2 armour kills and 1 friendly. So that has been quite a turnaround here, like just huge. And they're going to just have got wiped. That's good. Frost. Oh, Luciano was too slow there. Pioneers close to being wiped. Need to retreat them. He's also got more pioneers, which is good. MD42 and Rifle, they're all bunched up. Panther bombing in there as well. And there we go. We got a retreat here from Frost in the face of such relentless German onslaughts. There he goes, going to try and crash them. There we go, gets a few hits. Anti-tank and gets a decent hit here. And M1 out. Ooh, second shot failed to hit. Mortars and machine guns scattered across the battlefield. He's down to 17 victory points versus Frost, who's got his 50 cap all the way down here, veteran free ball. And there you go, another M10 out for Frost here. MD42 veteran free, guarding up these, repairing the Tiger Ace first, prioritising that one. Rather straight into the MD42. Gonna use engaging the rifleman. Quick concussive grenade. Oh! Nice throw there. Leaves France infantry stunned. Scattered. And there goes, almost got the Ace operable. Infantry moving coming into line of fire, the Ace and the Panzer IV. Bazooka team tries to inflict harm here, but instead is the one that get harmed. And there you go, the Ace is good to go to the Panzer IV next. M10 tank destroyer, anti-tank, and they're hanging back. Fun fact, tank destroyer battalions and companies of the independent kind could basically have either anti-tank or tank destroyers, they wouldn't be able to tell what it was. It's a fun fact, which did cause some confusion, I believe, for commanders at times. Troops are getting suppressed, pushed back. Penetrating hit there from the anti-tank on the Tiger Ace. M10 moving hit, penetrating hit as well there, but return hit there from the Tiger Ace. And another one. Frost might want to consider not attacking hit on, trying to outmaneuver Luciano and hit him from somewhere else, you know, maybe force him to extend and then destroy him when his forces are more easy to manage. But seems like here Frost is going to try and force a head-on confrontation, and now Luciano is the one in control. That is definitely not the best move. Apparently he's reinforcing. Could call in some stormtroopers. He does have the manpower. He could also call in a Panzer IV. In this case, he calls in an OSP, and I think he'd be better off with the Panzer IV, to be honest. Penetrating hit there. Lost his ace machine gun crew there. That's pretty bad there for Luciano. Panzer IV lands a few direct hits down the rifleman. Almost wipes the entire unit. 22 kills. Reason's getting obliterated here by the ace. And there you go. Unit wiped out. Or at least close to being wiped out. They're going for the Panzer IV, the anti-tank gun, and the M10 need to pull back. Shot bounced there at max range. Anti-tank gun actually now exposed there to being flanked by the Tiger Ace. Pop smoke falls back. M10 continues. Osman almost done. Tiger Ace doing nothing. And go blitzkrieg from Luciano. Osman and there go. He veers off. He does not dare pursue the Panzer IV into the lair of the Luciano. And there go. Tiger Ace going over the anti-tank armor pin. Shots. They're going through the frontal armor. Assault engineers getting blasted first. Almost got it there. Got one man, but not enough. Down to half health. The anti-tank's going to fall apart as soon as the crew dies. And there we go. Ostman flanking the M10. Almost got the assault engineers there. Anti-tank gun destroyed. M10's going to flank. Ostman moving in here. Ah, got the assault engineers. Can't. Oh, they got the victory point. He just needs to grab it back fast. Schnell. He could try and turn around the Tiger Ace to assist there with the turret rotation to catch up. And there you go. Good hit on the M10. Armor piercing rounds out here from Frost. M10 down, M10 down. Grenades around the point. We got a Rifle Squad nearby. Need to turn the Austin about to deal with it. And there you go. Rifle Norton wiped out. And good lord. GG, game over. Victory for Luciano, a loss for Frost. Second Armored Division was beaten in a series of brutal engagements. After Luciano would say had some issues initially with his army, he was able to, well, basically catch Frost off guard and completely annihilate all of his army with a much smaller armoured force. So that was quite something there. And there are definitely some issues then on both Luciano and Frost's side, but ultimately I think they both played well. Though, of course, in the end, Luciano was just able to play just a bit better there once he finally began concentrating his armor. That was one of the issues for Luciano. Just initially, he kept splitting up his tanks. Like, he wasn't working them at all together. That was really just big for Frost. It's allowed him to deal with them much more easily. And of course, I do have to question was actually sensible to go for the Tiger Ace in the first place, the way he was handling his tanks. But ultimately, he was able to sort of redeem himself, turn around, and just obliterate Frost when he actually had a much larger armored force. Again, one Panzer IV, he lost to him, Sherman, Jackson, and two M10s, plus eventually 3-pack 40. That Frost is also managed to secure. I mean, that was a lot of threats to armor, but somehow Luciano was able to just beat it all because, again, Frost split it up and acted position really poorly, allowing Luciano to just destroy it rapidly. And then instead of just, changing his approach, he just drove straight at Luciano and no idea where the tanks was, got basically just wedged between them and destroyed as well that way. That was just absolutely some horrid armor tactics there from Frost, which Luciano just utterly punished. So I think that was an interesting fight here. I mean, an interesting use of armor company. You haven't seen that used in ages, plus the captain and all that, and there's some interesting play there. I do think Frost would benefit from some mines from assault, and yes, I was definitely thinking an oversight there, or even just some light anti-tank mines, but I was, pretty interesting stuff there. And Luciano, I think, could have benefited from some assault rifles and stormtroopers, just early elite troops options. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed this match. Hope you learned something from it. If you did, subscribe, tell your friends, share it with everyone. If not, send a new player and some feedback in the comment section. If this is Imperial Link, cheers, thank you for watching. Hope to see you all tomorrow for another hunting episode. Bye.